if someone doesn't have vision, what would you encourage them to do to get one?
Great question. I think maybe people don't have the right idea of what a vision is or what it could be.
Yeah.
The thing I'm thinking of right now is like when people tell me they're not creative. I'm like, I just don't think that you look at creativity right.
Talk about that.
Yeah.
How should we look at creativity?
Well, I think maybe people are too hard on themselves, or they think like, oh, I don't play music, or I don't draw, or write poems, or whatever. Like whatever it is that, people would normally like, oh, that's a creative endeavor. If you're not doing those things, then I think it's easy for people to be like, I don't have that in me. I don't know what to do. I don't think I can do that. And I would challenge everyone to be like, you're creative every day. And whether it's the way that you set up your schedule, the way that you communicate with someone, the way that you build a strategy in your business.
I heard this. I read this. Excuse me. I don't know if I heard this or read this. I just have this in my brain right now. And it's this. Ants make colonies. Bees make honey. Wolves make packs. Humans create futures. And I think actually the word was, instead of make, it was create. So ants create colonies. Bees create honey. Wolves create packs. Humans create futures. And the concept that this person was trying to help others understand was that humans, all humans, whether you want to or not, you're creating the future.
Yeah.
Because that is what we do. We create what doesn't exist yet, which is what's going to happen in the time that we are going to be given, that we haven't been given yet. I have a friend who's in this room right now who constantly lives in the future. And he has to bring himself into the present. And what I think about that is, I think it's awesome to think about the future, but you can't be there. But you can be here, and you can create the future from this direction that we're headed. So I firmly agree with what you're saying. I just wanted to add that.
Sure.
So as we see ourselves as creatives, how does that help us with vision?
Yeah, I think it's just important to realize the fact that you are creating really in every situation. And I think maybe on the end of vision, maybe it's like often we're told like, hey, this is what your vision should be, and don't give us or ourselves the freedom to go after something that we maybe are excited about. And you hear the stories all the time of like, well, I wanted to be a musician, or I wanted to be whatever, but my parents or whoever's like, you need to be a doctor or a lawyer or go down this path that will give you security. And so I think maybe it's just kind of worked out of us to an extent for everyone, whether it's in regard like what I want to do with my life or anything else. It's just letting other people almost make that vision for us, tell us what's going to be best for us. And obviously there's a line there of like, I want to trust and, believe that these people want the best for me and they care. And you've heard me say multiple times of like other people helping me, but I don't really know if I had many times in my life where people were like, this is what is best for you, that I wasn't already kind of, I never really had people tell me, no, that's a bad idea in regard to things like this. It's not like I'm out here. I don't know. I don't need to explain this, but just, so I would say for folks, like, pay attention to what those things are that really make you excited. Even if it feels crazy or way out there, it's like remembering that hopefully we have time, like you were just talking about what can happen in a year and 10 years and who knows, but also the reality that like today is all we have. So what does it look like, to take a small step today in that direction of the thing that you're working towards, but also giving yourself the freedom to try. So I don't think there's a lack of vision. I just think there's a lack of like appreciation that it's a worthy vision, that it's something that can be invested in. I still struggle. Like music was always the thing that, again, made the most sense. I was supported in that way. My parents did it. So I was like, go forth. Mm-hmm. Who knows what it'll look like? But it was a lot easier to have a support system that kind of knew a direction to move in that way. Whereas I feel like there's a lot of things in my life now where I'm like, this would be really cool. I think I would enjoy that. I think I could be good at that, but it feels more open-ended or loose. Like I don't know the steps maybe to take in that direction. So just, it's not that I'm aimless, but yeah, trying to find, so like being in the mountains and skiing and doing more of that, moving to a place like this that opens up that door. It doesn't have to be so drastic of going to a Nashville or going to a winter park or somewhere that allows those things to excel. Whatever it could be, New York for music, film, Broadway, whatever it is, any place that kind of can help cultivate your goal. You don't have to do that. It's, I was in high school, so like I didn't really have an option, but like it wasn't like I was like, well, I'm not gonna be able to do anything until I get to Nashville. I would love to go there eventually if that happens, but like what can I do today to help give myself a better opportunity to find those doors that when they might open, I'm more prepared to walk through them. So yeah, I think it would just, to summarize that, be like everyone probably has more visions and ideas than they realize because they don't pay attention. But then having people come around you to help you understand if those things are worth paying attention to. And, it's probably very rarely going to be like a stop what you're doing now and go all in on that. It's like, no, what does it look like for you in the midst of your job or school or taking care of your family? Like, how can we integrate? How can you, write a poem a week, draw for 15 minutes a day, rather than like, oh, I need to be doing this all the time. Because I've had weeks like that too, where I have like a super productive, probably spent 20 to 40 hours on something that I'm making, but then the next week is like, that was too much. I'm burnt out in the midst of everything else, and then I just stop for a while. So it's like, I think there's something to not going totally all in at the expense of everything else, because that's another example of having too much going on. So it's not sustainable. But like, what are the little steps that can be taken towards these goals and ideas and visions that come to us? Also, like giving ourselves the pressure or the freedom to fail. Which again, I'm awful at. But going down these roads that excite us and are passionate, and not having the expectation of success and whatever that looks like, or redefining what that can be, so that, and also it's just okay to have fun. Like one of the things I also really, we're going through it. It's like everything I do has to be successful, has to make me enough income, has to garner enough attention. A classic example for me is like people all the time are asking me if I'm making my own music or whatever. I'm like, kind of, but I get stuck at like, how does this become a successful business? Not just go make music for fun. And part of that was like with Judah and the Lion, that was a lot of my role, especially in the early days, of helping foster. Like, I feel like Judah in particular, his strength is a lot, but if I could boil it down to like one thing that he was best at, was churning out content, music, vision, where we're going. And I feel like I contributed in the same way we all did in different aspects, but like my biggest strength, and I think one of the things that maybe going through the idea of like, what is a calling in the midst of whatever, and not to over spiritualize it, but like vocation, essentially the idea of no matter what you're involved with, whether it's this, playing a show, being on the road, hanging out at a coffee shop, whatever. It's like everywhere I go, everything I do, what am I bringing to the table that makes, or that is me? Not this idea of like, I'm doing this thing and that makes it worthwhile. It's like, what do I bring to the table? And so, on that particular end, I was talking about like, I feel like I help people understand what's in my opinion, worthy of being cared about. So Judah had, these great songs and visions of what he wanted things to look like, and I came alongside him, and I think part of why our partnership, particularly he and I and Brian, was always great at so many things and kind of in between both of us on that end. But it's like I've kind of talked about, and I'm not trying to be cocky here because who knows how things would have worked out, but I feel like if Judah didn't have me, we would have had a really hard time getting people to care about Judah and the Lion, and like to even have Judah and the Lion exist. It's like he had this whole bubble of creativity, and I was like, this is how we get people to hear and appreciate that. And so whatever it is in my life that I'm excited about and believe in, I feel like I have a gifting to try and bring people into that. Like, this is worth paying attention to. Let me tell you why. Let me show you that I'm excited. And it's okay if you don't come alongside, but I want you to have the opportunity to see what good could come from this thing. So I don't exactly know where I'm getting at with that, but I think maybe you can rein me.
No. I don't want to rein you in because I think you're saying some amazing things. You said 5-ish, like really powerful points on like if someone's looking for vision, what excites you? If someone's looking for vision, surround yourself with people that are excited about that thing and better at the thing than you are. You did that. You've done that every time. You did that in Nashville. You did that. You did that here. You're doing that again. You're gonna keep doing that. You found something that's of really value because it's gonna push you. And I'd say you should probably just. That's like you should coin that. That's a powerful thing. So what excites you? Who's really good at that thing that excites you? Be in community with them. And then you said, well, what can you do between now and being with them all the time, or being in the area, or being in that industry? What can you do now to get better that they would encourage you to do? And then you said, hey, look, like you got to put yourself out there to fail. And then you said at the end, then find out how you can be a part of a team. Here's how I was a part of the team. Judah was Judah, I was the lion. And like this is how we work together well. That's not being cocky. That's you making yourself valuable because you are. So you made yourself what you already are, which is valuable. Those 5 things are immensely important when it comes to seeing a dream become reality. And that's what you've done. That's exactly what you've done. I want to ask you a question though. I think I've never asked this question before in my life. And I disagreed with something you said.
Sweet.
And I think it's a healthy convo. What if you reframed how you thought about going all in? I see you already kind of naturally reframing it. How you originally were framing it, correct me if I'm wrong, was I will do everything and forsake everything else if it's not about that thing. What if that's not going all in from my point of view?
Do tell.
So, what's the point of going all in? To see the thing come into your life and never leave your life. What if your version of going all in is seeing the thing come into your life and leave your life? I would say that's not going all in, because that's not the definition that I'm seeing that you want to live by. I think what you want to do is you want to create and you want to see these things come in your life and never leave your life. So what if we use that as our definition of going all in? I have it and it never has to leave me.
That sounds pretty good.
Right?